When Sonic Frontiers first launched on November 8, 2022, fans have not been too hyped on this game when this game was first announced, and then some people claiming it's boring or just not for their style. But one thing to remember is that this is one of the most important 3D Sonic games that's ever created. Like, after the flop of Sonic Force, you can definitely tell that Sega or the Sonic team definitely had something promising upon the game's launch. Being super important to the franchise with good storytelling, pretty good gameplay and physics, and just awesome soundtrack that just make you feel connected to what's going on the screen. And becoming the first open world zone in the Sonic franchise is just something that has never been done before until that game launched. In my opinion, the story fits super well for a very first open world Sonic game, which instead of being like classic 3D platform-ish, there's an awesome storytelling where Sonic's friends, they get corrupted by the cyber corruption, and then they have to go in and save them. And there's two different paths for it, but I honestly prefer the Final Horizon. I think that has better storytelling than the regular version. There's so much more unique locations to explore, the more missions you have to do, and little mini bosses that you find. Honestly, I think they're pretty good for an open world game. I feel like the story, if you've been around this timeline for a pretty long time, it feels like you're more connected into it. Maybe I'm just the only one who's seen that way, but I feel like, I'm more connected to the Sonic universe just by playing this game. To me, one of the most important things about Sonic games is the story. That's pretty much anything important when I used to watch media or anything. What I care about sometimes, but most of the time, is the story and just how it goes and how it's well paced progressively and awesome emotional moments and stuff like that. This game does have an emotional moment at the end, way before the Final Horizon launch. By the way, that ending was so trash. I did not like that ending. Honestly, the Final Horizon fits better because obviously a more epic boss fight, and then meanwhile the old one was just cheap, and then the new boss fight just feel like an actual final Sonic boss. Or pretty much in any final boss in any particular video game. The story starts off pretty simple. Sonic tells Amy, fly through the air, and then something happens. We immediately going into an open world zone where Sonic travels, and then eventually finds out what's going on. And then soon enough he meets the Titans, and then the first Titan, Giganto, Wyvern or Wyvern, whatever you guys want to call it, depending on what your accent is, I guess. And then the Knights. Finally, and most certainly not least, is the Supreme boss, and then the end boss. I mean, just the build up to the end of the game is just perfect. Instead of just going Class A versus Dr. Robotnik style at the very end of pretty much every Sonic game almost, we're instead put into this open zone where there's many unique locations to explore and in an actual story playing. Something that is pretty good about this is just the music and is as you fight the bosses. This game also has good soundtrack, good music, what actually makes you feel motivated while trying to fight the bosses. Especially, I'm here revisited at the very end of the Final Horizon, which is actually my personal all-time favorite Sonic soundtrack, by the way. Don't hate me, I still love Live and Learn and In His World, trust. It's like it gives you the perfect motivation, and it lets you actually feel less scared when you're fighting it, not make it less terrifying and just more. You're just so mad that you just want to destroy that thing. Same with the normal cyberspace levels. I think those have good music, like Phone Into the Light, for example. And then that's when we go to classic Sonic style, little mini levels. You can S rank or red star rings, and it lets you progressively go further into the game. The more you finish, the more closer you are to finishing the game. Even little mini levels like that alongside with the 3D open world zone is just actually really good. I never seen anything like that in the actual game. I feel like every little challenge is fun except for the Coco King Trial boss fight, which took me a long time to finish. If you played that, you know what I'm trying to say. You also get these little mini bosses, which they can be annoying because I hate that when they pop up on the screen, show you the character's name, even though you already know the character's name. And then the problem is, if you do see them, you just have to run away from them. But I think they're a very unique detail. Like I said, that being an open 3D world for a Sonic game is just honestly surprising. The fact that this game is even canon is just like so good, because I know we're obviously in the era where everything is canon type of area, but honestly, this canon, like, if you ask me why I think this is perfect for the canon, because it's just awesome storytelling. It fits well with the Sonic universe. But if you take something, for example, like Sonic Prime, the show is already messed up from the start, and then when I found out it was actually canon to the story, it just actually ruined the show for me, and especially got more disappointed the closer it got to the end, because we already know how Sonic is in that show, just goofball. Why can't we get a better show like Sonic X? That's the perfect example of what a Sonic show should really be about. I just feel like the story is well paced, it's well written, and does have good things about not giving yourself up and just keep going no matter what happens. I feel like the 3D platforming in this game, like I said in the past that I'm not used to 3D Sonic platforming, but this game actually made 3D platforming much more easier for me. You have the stomp attack, and just like instead of just slipping off when you go too far, you can just stomp attack. and it just perfectly lands safely without trying to slip off the edge. So that's what I do like about it. I think in my opinion, this has the best 3D Sonic platforming. I know a lot of people are gonna disagree with me on that, but I think this has the best Sonic 3D platforming. Maybe I'm just more used to 2D, and then this was similar to 2D where I could just stop myself and then just actually process what's going to happen next. I think one thing that people actually don't like about this game, I guess they don't feel like the open zone is really decent. They probably think it's mid or something, but I think it's pretty good. I didn't expect Frontiers to be something like this, like first 3D open world Sonic game. I thought I was expecting just random similar things with classic Sonic style, you know, where you just platform your way and then just, you know, maybe face off against stage at the end, and that was it. From the start, I thought the visuals were insanely good, and then by the time the game came out, I was like, you know, pretty good visuals. Like, I love the visuals. One of the best parts of the game for me. Something also good about this is just the teamwork feeling between the 4 main characters of the whole game series. You know, coming together in the final horizon, working together to get the 7 Chaos Emeralds and eventually to kill the end by the end of the game. Which is actually one of my favorite moments of any Sonic content in particular, just because the music, the mechanics are like the worst part of the whole boss. In my opinion, yeah, it does have a happier ending. You know, you can't just end it with Sage dying and then Robotnik forcing to make another digital copy of her. And it just feels like everything is lost because she is very important to the canon. Yeah, having an ending messed up like that in the original version was just messed up because it feels like they just were they were too lazy to really add on what was going to happen next, or they just ran out of budget and they're just putting some cheap Space Invaders like final boss fight. That does not feel like a Sonic game once we get to that segment. I didn't like that final boss, but I feel like the final Horizon boss is better. It has better story, or after you beat the final boss. Overall opinion on this, I think it's pretty underrated Sonic game. Like, legit. I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate just for saying that, because I know some people do not like this game. But I personally think this game is good. Like, I love the story, the gameplay, the style of this game. It looks colorful. Visually, I love it. And a pretty killing soundtrack. I think I enjoyed this game as much as I did with Sonic Adventure 1, which is actually honestly a really good game. I thought the game was pretty good when I first played that game, and when I was playing this, I thought, you know what, this is as good as Sonic Adventure 1. I thought both of those games were good, but if I had to pick those two, I can't decide. Probably a little bit more over. Yeah, I can't decide. So yeah, you can definitely tell if you're a fan of this game, you can definitely agree that Sega did have something promising after the flop of Sonic Forces. And a lot of people say the wait was worth it if you like the game at least. I'm not saying that the game was worth it for everybody. If you like the game, you can definitely tell the wait was definitely worth it. That is until the final horizon and everything just became even better. The fact that this became the highest selling 3D Sonic game of all time is just perfect. Like, it's honestly flabbergasted me as much as it did when Sonic the third movie became the highest rated video game film of all time. I mean, with a handful amount of people not liking this, you can definitely tell that why it's reasonable for some people to like this game as much as I do. Overall rating of this game is like a 9 out of 10. I think it's, yeah, like I said, good storytelling, and then, yeah, that's pretty much the best part of it. It definitely fits well with the overall canon and the entire Sonic series. If you guys have different opinions on this game, that is perfectly okay. If you don't like it, just let me know in the comments if you like it or dislike it, and what you like about this game or just dislike it about. Yes, I think it is an underrated Sonic game, and I think more Sonic games like this would definitely be amazing to have in the future.